You know, when you look at any nation story, there are always a few key people, a few key thinkers who really shape its soul for generations to come. Today, we're going to dive into one of modern Denmark's most important figures, NFS Grundtvig, a guy who was standing right in the middle of a massive storm of change. And this quote right here, wow, it tells you everything. This wasn't just some local hero we're talking about. Think about the names swirling around this one guy. You've got the artistic genius of Goethe, the world-conquering power of Napoleon, and the revolutionary fire of Karl Marx. These weren't just people, they were forces of nature, and he was right there, in the eye of the hurricane. So it really begs the question, right? In an age of these absolute titans, people who were literally redrawing maps and rewriting the rules for society, who on earth was this Danish figure at the center of it all? And what made him so important? To really get a grip on Grundtvig, we first have to understand the world he lived in. And that world was the 19th century, a time of just absolutely seismic change across Europe. It was an age of total upheaval, but also of brilliant, world-changing ideas. I mean, the 19th century was just this wild mix of chaos and creativity. You've got Napoleon's armies steamrolling across the continent, tearing down old empires. At the same time, the Romantic movement is sparking a revolution in art and philosophy. And then, just as all the politicians are trying to glue the old world back together, in walks Karl Marx with an idea that's basically a stick of dynamite. This was the intense, turbulent world Grundtvig was born into. All right, so with that huge European backdrop in mind, let's zoom way in. Let's shift from the continental stage to the small nation of Denmark, and finally meet the man at the heart of our story. So who was this guy? Well, NFS Grundtvig was kind of everything. A true Renaissance man. He wasn't just one thing. He was a poet whose words fired up the national imagination, a pastor who wasn't afraid to challenge the church, a philosopher of education, a historian who used the past to build the future, and a politician who helped create a new kind of democracy. Seriously, his fingerprints were all over the place. And get this isn't some typeset font in an old book. This is his actual handwriting. You can almost feel the energy, the passion, flowing right onto the page. These weren't just words. These were the very seeds of hymns and poems that would go on to reawaken an entire nation's identity. But, of course, this work wasn't easy. Not at all. In fact, you can really understand his entire life and legacy as one great epic conflict, a real struggle for the very soul of his nation. The author Ebbe Klovedal Reich just nailed it when he framed this struggle. He didn't see Grundtvig's life as just a piece of Danish history. He called it a drama of destiny, a story with these huge universal themes that honestly still feel incredibly relevant today. And here it is. This is the heart of that drama. The core of the conflict. It was a classic showdown. On one side, you have the established powers, the rigid official church and the authority of the state. And on the other, something totally new, something bubbling up from the ground floor, the awakening of the people. And this was a powerful clash. The establishment was all about that top-down authority and control. But the awakening, the thing Grundtvig was fighting for, was about a new dream of life. It was about education, empowerment, and forging an identity that didn't come from a king or a bishop, but from the people themselves. So what was the result of this huge conflict? This clash between the old powers and this new awakening? Well, it created an incredible, lasting legacy. See, this was so much more than just an intellectual debate. Grundtvig's vision for an educated, empowered population actually became a reality. It was woven right into the very fabric of Danish society and totally reshaped the soul of the nation. And his legacy is incredibly concrete. We're talking about real, tangible things. He inspired the Danish folk high school movement, this revolutionary idea of education for life, not just for exams. It's an idea that really echoes in our modern concepts of lifelong learning. This whole vision helped lay the groundwork for modern Danish democracy. His writing helped to forge a unique national identity, and his hymns are still sung in churches all over the country today. His impact was just profound. So Grundtvig helped reshape his entire nation through these powerful ideas about education and popular awakening. It really makes you stop and wonder, doesn't it? Whose ideas are shaping the soul of your nation today?